prepare in advance. Say, how do I prepare and how do I weather through this? And so for us, there are 3 fundamental things we kind of do and then 5 super tactical things that we do during these slow seasons every time. And the reason I'm releasing this is because this summer is, for many of our clients, a slower season. I want to walk through what are some of those things that you could just really do practically inside your business if you're experiencing a summer sales slowdown. So if you're experiencing this, here's some practical things you can do. And what I would encourage you to do is just kind of treat this as a buffet. See like, hey, what if this applies to me? What can I take and really apply to my business based on where I'm at and what I'm experiencing? And so the first thing I kind of want to just consider is the fact that emergencies aren't, which a lot of times things like this come every time of the year, right? Every July for us as an example is very slow. Christmas comes at the same time every year, by the way. So does Q4, so does Q2, Q1, and Q3. And so if we know that, guess what? Emergencies aren't as emergent if you plan on them. Crazy concept, right? So for example, if you had 6 months worth of operating expenses in cash in the bank and sales dropped for the summer, how would you feel? Probably better than if you were living payroll to payroll, right? You feel a lot better, right? If you had 6 months worth of your operating expenses in the bank, you'd feel a lot better about that, right? And so then the emergencies, oh my goodness, out of nowhere, June, July, and August just hit. What? I did not expect that to happen. If you plan on them, then emergencies are less emergent. You know, so right now we work with a little bit more than 200 brands in 19 of the 22 major e-commerce categories and industries. And I don't know a single one of them without their slump seasons. And what I've learned is that slow season is very telling of an entrepreneur. I believe slow seasons, downturns, and adversity are the things that largely define our success and who we are as entrepreneurs. You know, it's easy to stay super positive during massive sales cycles every year when things are going great. Like Q4, your Q4 might be in Q4, maybe your Q4, if you're in golf, is during the summer, right? And so whatever your Q4 is, it's a lot easier to stay positive when people are spending money like it's going out of style. It's a lot harder when it sucks, right? When you're in that slow season, it's a lot harder to stay positive. So if at the first sign of adversity, like your campaign failing, nobody liking your product, you launch a new thing, it's not working, your email's not getting any sales, if it makes you cower and complain, then you might need to check yourself first. Because if stuff is gonna happen, it's when it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, right? So if it's gonna happen, and if you make a pact with yourself to say, when this happens, I will begin developing the muscle to win in these moments, then you will win in the long run. So we're in the middle of summer. What happens? Things are going down. What are the things that will help with this? So 3 fundamental things, 5 super tactical things. Thing number 1 fundamentally is during busy seasons, stop liquidating your cash. Now, this is obviously being proactive, so I encourage you, if you're in a reactive state right now, become proactive moving forward. We're gonna be getting to Q4 in no time. It's just right around the bend, we're gonna be here. If that is your moment of massive sales and cash injection, then stop liquidating your cash after that. Because cash gives you options, and it gives you a lot less anxiety. And options allow you to expand when others are contracting. And I actually cover this. So in episode 78, I cover the entrepreneurial chaos junkie problem. This happens all the time. You have a big November, you have a big December, and then in January, you go on a hiring spree because it looks like everything is going well, and at the current trends, we're on track to 20x our revenue in the next 12 months. Well, you're using November, December data, and it's very dangerous to use that data to make big commitments in January and February. So don't go on a hiring, spending, or investing spree and equipment and hires and all these other things right after you get in a good cash position, only to deplete yourself and then find yourself in the summer completely broke and in a bad spot with loads of anxiety that keep you up every night, and then you're working overtime just to try to stay afloat. And so if you're being reactive right now, take this moment to learn from that. Learn from it. And so then in your next busy season, don't liquidate your cash because you feel Good. We work with a lot of people, and I can't tell the amount of times that someone has a record month, 2 months later, completely in a tight bind financially. They're in a cash flow crunch 2 months later. Why? Well, they go and they start spending and buying things that they shouldn't do because you get excited. And if you've been trained in your behavioral act is to spend the moment you get, then you need to figure that out, because that's gonna make you go upside down and live in a constant state of anxiety. So fundamental thing number one, during busy seasons, sit on cash, stop liquidating it. Number two, fundamentally, watch your language. And this is not me being a teacher like you're in class and you're like swearing and stuff like that. I mean that words bring life and death, and you might think, oh, well, this is just like a bunch of hoopla stuff. But here's the thing, like, in the Bible, Proverbs 18:21 says something great. It says, the tongue can bring death or life. Those who love to talk will reap the consequences. Was the consequence good or is the consequence bad? What is it? Based on what you say. In other words, don't be an Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. If you're unfamiliar with Eeyore, all Eeyore did was complain about woe is me. All of the stuff that's going wrong and everything else, and I'm always behind, and this always happens to me, and blah, blah, blah. And so have you ever met someone who's just a chronic complainer? Where like everything in their life is a complete mess, and everything that does go wrong does, or can go wrong, does go wrong. I know I have. And at the same time, have you also met someone who sees the light in every situation and they speak life into it? And in the bad, they can still say there is good in the bad. I've met a lot of people like that. And it's helped transform my perspective on what do you do when things are bad? How do you come out of that stronger on the other side? And I also want you to think of this. Think of your team. If you're thinking about your language, think about your team. If you have a team, imagine the thoughts that run through their minds if the leader of the company is doubtful and anxious and complaining all of the time. How do they feel, right? This is that moment that if you have a team right now and you're experiencing this, you get to reset the standards for how you behave and how your team should behave during slow seasons. That means you're not quick to anger. You're not quick to call people out. You don't start, if it's very easy, like a very natural instinct as an entrepreneur is you have this burden of taking care of everybody. And when money is tight, when finances are tight, usually a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times it's self-induced. And if you're honest about that, one of the first things we often do is suddenly we become very short with people and we begin cutting things mercilessly, and we start lashing out and like being short-tempered with people when they come to us with simple questions. And so it's very easy to do that. And so this is that moment where you get to say, I get to watch my language. I get to be intentional with how I set the new standard and set the bar for how we behave in this organization when times are tough. Because it's easy when things are easy, but it's very tough to maintain that composure and maintain that attitude when things are tough. Because in slow seasons, guess what? Here's the thing. Your competition, they're saying the same thing. They're experiencing the same thing. It's a fair playing field. If it is a slow season in your industry, like in the golf industry, the winter is a slow season. It's not just like one golf company experiences slow seasons in January. They all do. So how do you combat that? How do you prepare against that? And how do you behave accordingly? It's a level playing field. I want to encourage you, remember the infinite game. Like if you're playing this for the infinite game, you're not just playing this to try to build a business for a year and then shut it down. If you're in this for the long haul, then remember, you only lose when you quit. So watch your language. Finally, third fundamental thing here is view slumps is a good thing. And then I want to show you how to view them as a good thing and what you could do to make them a good thing. So view them as a good thing. So when's the last time, for example, you've been able to do the things and work on the projects that you really want to work on in the business? Or when's the last time you actually took a break? Like took a day off, took a vacation, right? I used to be in meetings all the time. And I used to complain to my wife. If there was a day that I was in like 22 meetings, I would complain. I'd be like, oh, I have to hop on 22 meetings, or I have to hop on blah, 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 or I have to do this. And then one day she just calls me out and she says, what if you stop saying I have to and you just say I get to? Because most people don't have that many clients, that many people wanting to work with them like you do. And suddenly like a light bulb went off. I'm like, I don't have to do this. I get to do this. I don't have to work on my business. I get to work on my business. If you could change that perspective and view it as a good thing, then it's going to change the trajectory and the speed in which you move, because you move a lot faster when you're in a positive headspace. That's what I've learned. And so for us, let me give you an example. So July is our historical slowest month. Every year, July is just the worst. So it's very slow. It is so I'm releasing this. We're releasing this in July. So for us, July is the historically slowest season. So what do? It's when I travel the most. I say, you know what? This is our slow season. I'm going to use this time to actually go travel. It's also my anniversary month as well, so I use it in conjunction with that. And at the same time, it's when our team does any massive tech migrations, like we're moving from platform to platform. It's when the team works on big internal projects. We make massive website upgrades. We focus on building out systems or product development, etc. And since we know it's the slowest season or the slowest month, we intentionally schedule what we call our promo sprints when we're doing huge promotions around that, to create, so to actually do promo sprints and create cash injection during the month that we are the slowest in July. And then intentionally, we hold off on other heavy product promotions in June and August, so that way it's just not heavy throughout the entire summer. We really heavyweight it into July because we know that it's the slowest, and that's when I'm usually gone on trips and we're internally working on projects. So view sales slumps as a good thing. What can I do in the business to build a stronger foundation so that when I come out of this, I've set a new baseline of thinking, of behavior in projects and systems inside the business, so that now we have a better foundation to build upon as we come outside of that. So those are three things that we do fundamentally. During slow seasons, first of all, we stop liquidating our cash, and then we watch language, we keep positive, we keep in that good headspace, and then we view sales slumps as a good thing and a time to reset and refocus inside the business. Now, what do we do tactically? 5 things we do, and these should help you during these slow seasons. The first thing is we will run promo sprints. A promo sprint is simply a campaign that you run. A lot of times we do this, especially during slower seasons, we do this with our SMS or our email and social, things that don't have ad spend associated with them. Now you can add ad spend, but again, if we are in a slow season and buying behavior is down, we're generally and we see lower returns on ads, we may not do ads in this case. And so, or not entirely don't do ads, but we may not be adding more ad spend for these promo sprints. And so what a promo sprint is it's a 24 to 72 hour cycle of hard promotional pushing. Yes, this means often adding discounts, going site-wide, doing a weekend sale, tying it to a holiday, if we can, whether it's Father's Day or Memorial Day or 4th of July or whatever makes sense for you, or back to school or whatever makes sense in that slow season. We try to tie it to a theme or a holiday if we can, or an occasion that's actually happening. But what we do is we do some kind of a promotion. We often will discount things. We'll take all the clearance or the inventory that we've been sitting on, and we will just liquidate that by slashing things down. Because guess what? If that's just sitting there, especially if you're in a business that goes out of season or you release new products, so that's going to become dated, let's just liquidate it, steeply discount it, liquidate it. Let's create cash injection during this time that doesn't have ad spend tied to it. So that's the first thing we do. The second thing we do is we make sure that we keep our ad spend in check. So if we have been spending a certain amount, like if I've been spending X amount of dollars a month, but sales dip and I don't adjust my ad spend and it keeps spending, what's gonna happen is you're gonna get in a bad spot. So like in most scenarios, your ad spend in November and December are gonna look a lot different than your ad spend in January. So if you come out of November, December spending heavy, hot and heavy because it's working, and then you get into January and you don't adjust it, well, what's gonna happen? Well, your ad spend as a percentage of your revenue is gonna climb really high for most brands, and then that's gonna eat you alive. So number 2, just keep your ad spend in check. We have trainings on this. We have podcasts on ad spend and our ad management system. We recommend 15 to 30% of total revenue in ad spend, and we have systems around that. Go check that out. That'll give you a lot more insight there. The third thing we do is we allocate more time and money to branding related activities. So there are kind of 2 ways we look at our marketing based activities. We look at direct response marketing and we look at branding related marketing. So direct response means you get a response right away from the activity. So if I send an email with the idea of producing sales, I get sales right away. That is direct response. Running an ad for somebody to click and buy something right away, that is a direct response. We are asking for them to take action right away, or we want them to take action right away. Branding related, however, are like the long term. So think of direct response, short term, we want orders right this moment. Branding is the big picture. Branding is organic stuff. It's stuff that we're building for the long term. That's usually a compound effect. And so with this, consider creating more content. Consider creating more content, leaning into your organic, leaning into your social, leaning into the stuff that's going to build the brand, that's going to help prepare for when you climb out of it. Now you have a stronger foundation of your actual brand as a whole. And so we do this heavily during the summer. Like actually right now, this podcast that I'm wrapping up, this is the fifth podcast that we're recording today. We're recording 5 podcasts today because the summer is our slower season. So what do? We're allocating more time and resource to branding related activities as we come out of it into a busier season when things pick back up like we know that they normally do, starting around in August. Well, guess what? We now have loads of content that we can continue to release, fall back on. We're upping our content output so it starts to build more of our organic engine in the brand as a whole. So that is the third thing we'll do, allocate more time and money to branding related activities. Number 4 is we'll develop and source new products. It's really easy to get distracted by this. Like, especially if you're someone who just loves develop. We have clients that they love coming up with new designs, researching new products, rolling out new product lines. And it's very easy to get distracted doing that during a busy season with all these new ideas. And so instead, during those moments when things are busy, keep the throttle on marketing and fulfilling orders. And then use slow season as that time to say, hey, I need to consider new designs, new product lines that I could do in ways to enhance the current products maybe. And so use this time to improve your products, to source new products, to do that research in the slow season versus the busy season. And the 5th and final thing that we do from a very practical standpoint is we add more bricks. And what that means is we add more, I like to say just adding bricks to the castle. So if we're building a castle, we have to add bricks. And to build a whole castle, it's gonna take a long time to do that, right? And so bricks are the foundation of that. So when we say that, I mean, what are those projects and those things that if you were to complete them, it would be one more brick in the castle, one more foundational thing that's gonna build a stronger foundation for your business. This might be the first month when somebody comes in the welcome series, right? They join your pop-up, they get in the welcome series, but they don't buy yet. What if you created a 30-day nurturing sequence where they get 1 email a day for 30 days? It sounds like a lot, right? Well, what if you can control their entire sales experience with you for the first month and really nurture them to the point of buying from you sooner than just, hey, they get 2 or 3 emails and then they just get your weekly emails or whenever you send campaigns, right? What if you did that? What if you built a 9 email revival email series for the people that are about to be suppressed and they haven't opened an email in 90 days and those people go into a 9 email automation that's just dripping them to try to pull them back in and letting them know that you're gonna go ahead and unsubscribe them if they don't respond to something. What if you leaned into product photography? Maybe you need to spend some time improving your product photography or working on your website or building new creatives for your social media, your ads, or going and reworking some of the SEO of your product pages, or considering expansion onto Amazon, right? Or expansion onto Etsy, or expansion onto some other marketplace. Maybe you need to work on your email designing and some of the branding that goes along with that. Maybe you need to do some email list segmentation or maybe some email list cleanup. What are those things that if you were to complete them, it would add more bricks to the castle, building a stronger foundation? So those are 5 tactical things that we do when things get a lot slower. We run promo sprints throughout the slow season. We keep our ad spend in check. We allocate more time and money to branding related activities, not only direct response. We develop and source new products and improve our existing products. And then we finally add more bricks to the castle for a stronger foundation inside the business. Well, hopefully you're not experiencing a summer sales slump and you're just listening because you like to listen to the podcast. But if you are, I just want to encourage you, you're gonna make it through. You can do this. Keep pressing, keep fighting on. Use this as that moment to reset the standard for how you behave when things are slow and things are tough. View these sales slumps as a good thing. And the next time you get to this busy season, you climb out of this, you have a stronger foundation. Get to that busy season, cash in on it, and then sit on that cash. It'll make you feel a lot better. You'll weather the storms and you'll see the light of day for many years to come.